Greetings, this is Fashayo. I am doing week 1, day 2 of my yoga journal for class. And I'm giving y'all a peek in because I give y'all a peek in at everything else. So, today we did do our yoga practice. But during our discussion, we talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about the history and all that stuff of yoga, but as we got into the philosophies that led to the modern day philosophies of yoga, we turned to a lot of other things, which is to me as it should be. But one thing that kind of stuck with me today was, and I think Leslie said it yesterday too, but she went more in depth with it today. But basically, using language and concepts that tell us what we shouldn't do, what's not socially acceptable, or culturally acceptable, or not acceptable in your family or your spirituality, your practices or whatever. And taking that attitude as opposed to just doing what you're supposed to do. And one of the examples that she gave was like when we were babies, we did whatever our bodies needed to do. Excuse me. You cried when you had some feeling that you need to cry. You didn't try to hold it in. You never see a baby holding in tears. You never see them hold in laughter. You don't even see them hold. I'm not saying you should go use the bathroom on yourself, but I'm saying when they have to go, they just go. Unlike us, we hold it until it's convenient for other people. Until you don't just find the nearest restroom and go. A lot of times we hold it. We hold in a lot of emotion because it's not practical or it's not acceptable in the setting that we're in. Rather than listen to our bodies. And so what happens is that we come to a point, what has happened to me, I'll say that. What has happened to me is that I've come to points at different times in my life where I would hold things in to the point when they would spill out. It would take me a while to figure out where that emotion was coming from. And I would have to backtrack, where it was coming from. And that's just not healthy. I think that we make ourselves sick that way, mentally and physically sick that way, because everything's connected. I'm one of those people that believes that everything is connected and that we're whole beings, and all that stuff. And we talked about renunciation today, about renouncing. Well, we talked about it at first in regards to like monks and nuns and people like that. But then she covered how we can renounce anything that doesn't work for us or that hinders us. Some of the examples are funny. Some of them were completely, applicable to the situation. It could be anything from renouncing clothes. You want to go live in a nudist society. Or it could be renouncing the suppression of your own emotion. Renouncing mistreatment of your children by way of, whatever you feel like that is. I renounced flipping out on my kids for everything they did. I renounced having a bad temper with people and being short with people. I renounced sacrificing myself for everybody else. We also talked about not having expectations. Expectations meaning that if I tell you, for instance, that I love you, my expectation rather is that you'll tell me, oh, well, I love you too. Where it should, in my opinion, it should be a thing of you just me saying that to you just to share that thought with you, as opposed to how we've been trained is to be offended if I say, well, I love you, and you don't say I love you too. If I say I love you and you don't say I love you too, I'm gonna be mad. And we shouldn't be like that. So taking away that expectation. when we do things for people, just do it free and clear. And if you get something back, great. If you don't, great. Because it should have been given from your heart without expectation. And she talked about being integral in our intentions. So if you want to be told that you look nice, just walk into the room and say, hey babe, I need you to tell me that I look nice, tell me how good I look, instead of saying, do I look fat, or how do you think I look? Or the worst ever is when people say, how old do you think I am? I don't know how old you are. And if I say too old, like if I say that you're older than you, if I actually say you look 50 and you're 35, you ticked off. And if I say you look 20 and you're 35, you're gonna be like, girl, no, I don't. It's just say that I'm fishing for a compliment. I feel bad about myself today. Help me out. So ask for what it is you want. Let your intentions be clear. And you have a choice of how you do things. This is the last one, I promise. But you have a choice of how you do things also. We talked about that, is that if you're going to do something, you can do it. Some things you have to do anyway. So you can either do things with a good attitude, or you could do things with a bad attitude, especially if it's something that's an obligation. You have to go to work. So if you have to go to work, go with a good attitude, because you have to go. If you have to go with a bad attitude, all you're doing is drawing your own day out. If you just go, no, you have to go, be grateful that you have a job, be grateful that your paycheck is on time, be grateful for all these things, then it won't be as bad. Yeah, so we have choices. We talked about choices today too, choices in how we handle things. Because a lot of times all we can change is our attitude. We cannot change our circumstances in many instances, but we can change our attitudes. So I think that's enough for now. I didn't cover one of the potential journal topics just because I talked about everything else. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself in class. I think it's fabulous. And I hope that every day is going to be like that. And I'm going to just make it be so. I'll see y'all later. Odabo.